Hello and welcome to this edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Adrian Atkinson. We have an informative show packaged just for you. Let's get these pages turning.
You want to immediately begin to check your internal fixtures and fittings. Look for leaks. So the toilet tank sometimes can cause a lot of losses in water. If there is any kind of watermarks in your toilet, in the toilet itself, it's a giveaway. Sometimes inside of the yard or in the walls themselves show a lot of moisture. That's also a potential sign that there is a leak or so. Jamaica has shown a higher frequency of earthquake movement in the last year or so too. Some of these earth movements can dislocate your pipes. As you move outside the home, you are looking for wet spaces, or if you have grass on your property, you're looking for extra green or extra damp locations. After a hurricane, you want to be able to check your water tank for any punctures or any dislocated pipes that could very well even be leaking out your water from your storage. Repair these pipes as quickly as you possibly can, but also as safely as you possibly can. So for instance, if you know you still have electricity, then please ensure that there are no wires in contact with the ground, especially close to the water points that you're seeing, because that could be hazardous. All right? And if there are any break points that you see on the water main, alert the NWC and we will do our best to respond as quickly as possible. But again, just stressing, ensure that where wires are situated or where trees may have fallen down, please be safe before you try to get into contact with the pipes after a hurricane.
This is a crisis, and it is one thing that we must never do, is waste a crisis. The other word for crisis is opportunity. And this is an opportunity to make Jamaica stronger. And I know that with unity, togetherness, genuine unity and togetherness, Jamaica will recover and recover stronger.
In this week's episode of Get the Facts, we take a closer look at a pressing local issue, the rapid rise of groundwater in places like Content, Manchester, waters that have now spilled into homes, business properties and roadways. A representative from the Water Resources Authority is here to look beneath the surface. Let's join in on the conversation.
Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on the latest topics. I'm Theodore Henry. Since Hurricane Melissa, we've seen unusual sights, water bubbling up through roads, yards, and even open fields in some parishes. Now, what's causing this? And is it dangerous? To help us understand, we're joined by Peter Clark, Managing Director of the Water Resources Authority, WRA. Welcome to Get the Facts, Sir Clark.
Hi.
All right, let's jump right into it.
Certainly.
The parishes that are currently experiencing this water rising from the ground, which parishes are these?
For sure, Manchester, because that is very, very topical. St. Elizabeth, right. Hanover, Clarendon, St. James.
All right, so mostly
where has been affected by all of the wind damage from Melissa as well, where the core of the hurricane had passed through.
Right, and where the hurricane had also dumped a lot of water as well. So then it can help. So give me some clarity here. Now, some people might say, oh, maybe it's underground pipes that have been burst. What is it?
No, it's not underground pipes at all. As a matter of fact, most of the pipes have been intact for the Water Commission and the other providers of water. Right. What we're having is, what we have to understand is that Jamaica as a country, sits on lots of large pockets of water that we call aquifers. And we tap into these aquifers. We drill wells into these aquifers to take water from the aquifers.
Right.
All right, so we abstract water for domestic purposes. So a lot of water commission systems are from wells. A lot of the irrigation systems are from wells and so on. And a lot of private systems are from wells. So we tap into these aquifers. Now, when you get an abundance of rain, as we've had pre-Melissa, leading up to Melissa, and then into Melissa, into the system itself.
Right.
What you would have found is that a lot of the water now soaks into the ground. Remember now that all of this groundwater that we're talking about in aquifers was once rain. So all of our rivers, all of our water, our only source of incoming water into our hydrologic system, into our water systems is rainfall.
Right.
So the rain soaks into the ground, and now the ground it now has to flow away underground. But it flows at a much slower rate than, for instance, rivers. So rivers will flow very quickly, while the groundwater advances ahead much, much slower. Thousands of times slower, probably a meter or 2 meters per year.
Okay.
So what it means is that if a bulk of water is percolating into the ground and it's advancing at this slow rate, then it's not going to move away as fast. What it is going to do is it's going to build up.
So the equation then is rate of entry versus rate of flowing away slower than entry. So what we have is a overflow.
You just give the hydrological principle of I minus O equal delta storage.
Nice.
Input minus output is storage. So if input is greater than output, storage increases. If input is less than output, storage decreases. Just like a reservoir.
So in layman's term, the ground full.
The ground is now full of water.
Wow.
Basically, it's full of water, and what it is doing is it's rising. So even sinkholes that normally drain the water away are now becoming basically reverse funnels that are now offering that conduit, that pipeline, that way. I don't use the word pipeline because there's no pipeline. Offering that route for the water to come up into the community. Now, for instance, in content, content is basically a community that's situated in a depression, a very large depression, a bowl.
Right.
All right, so what it means is that water will just keep coming up and filling this bowl. So if your house is situated in the lower sections of it, you will be where water is rising, and you will be affected a whole lot more than anybody that is up on the slopes.
Right.
And it is as simple as that. Right. Now, at the end of the day, and I'm sure you're going to be wondering, how fast is it rising?
Yes.
That's one of the jobs and functions of the Water Resources Authority. So we put gauges in there and we're monitoring it. And essentially we're seeing what we would call a phenomenal rate of roughly a foot per day.
Foot per day?
Roughly a foot per day. So if you went there last week and saw houses with water up to the windowsills, it would mean that if you go there this week, you'd see the water up to the roof, or maybe you'd even see the building.
6 feet?
Exactly, because that's 6-7 feet.
But Sir Clark, you said a foot per day in all the areas?
In this area of content.
Okay.
In other areas, no.
Okay, so
we're speaking about content here. Yeah,
right.
I was speaking about content with regards to the foot per day. In other areas, for instance, it's much less. And it's not always groundwater that's rising in other areas. You have other areas that are also in depressions. And what is happening now, for instance, in Brighton and outside of Santa Cruz, that water now, the New River and the Braes River and so on. So the New River especially overtopped its banks, and then the water flooded out all of this flat bowl kind of area and created that flooding that is there for them. So as the river recedes, which it will respond to, it was excessive rainfall that caused it to be in such high speed. So as the river recedes, we also anticipate that will recede. So you'll see the receding of the water in that area maybe a lot quicker than you'll see it in content. Because in content, it has to soak away into ground that already is contained in the water.
And
so
which
we have to
slowly.
So that has to move away.
All right. So, okay. So now you've just identified two very different sources of rising groundwater. Now, tell me, residents who might be seeing this water approaching, what's the word to them?
Well, the word is take it as a message. Take heed, because the fact is that we can't tell you right now when it is going to stop rising.
Yes.
All right? So it will be advancing higher and further as a result of the groundwater that's rising. So if you recognize that you are in a vulnerable area, are a vulnerable part of the same community and it has not risen to you yet, but you have your suspicions, I would say discretion is the better part of valor. Don't try to brave it out. I would say pack up. I would say move your belongings and secure your belongings. Put them somewhere safe if in case you need to move quickly, and at least you don't have that headache to try to figure out what to do with all your stuff. Figure out from now what you're going to do with all of your stuff if the water hasn't reached to you yet.
Because underlining it, what you are seeing across these areas is that water is rising.
We are up to now, water is rising.
Still rising.
I mean, there was one instance when it was not, when maybe it had broken through some conduit or cavern underground and would have maybe receded a little bit, but then it would have now filled that space and started rising again.
Got it.
So we did say once at one time that our readings were that it was going down, and it was going down, but that was a momentary thing. And people will hear these things as well, because in some of the instances, especially in limestone areas, it's not now just moving through sand and gravels and so on. It may actually be moving through small caverns and so on.
People might hear like a river underground.
Sometimes you may hear like a river underground. You may hear like, it may be a gurgling, a mild gurgling.
Right.
It may be a harsh gurgling, like when you hear a toilet flushing or whatever. But whatever the situation is, that would have explained why we saw it going down a little bit, in that it would have probably found its way into a larger cavern where it would then start filling that. And now having filled it, nowhere else to go again, so it continues rising.
This is fascinating, Sir Clark. Hold on, we have to stick up in. We're going to go to a break right now. We're going to continue this discussion, though, when we return.
If you don't have any business in the western end of the island, please do not go. The traffic pileup is actually creating a risk to persons' lives. Our inability to efficiently transport relief supplies to the region because of persons coming out of their vehicle and sightseeing and doing selfies, as we saw over the last several days, is creating a significant traffic pileup. And if there is blockage in, let's say, Holland Bamboo, then the relief trucks cannot come out.
During the passage of Hurricane Melissa, many Jamaicans were affected, some more than others. As the authorities do what is necessary to bring relief to those who need it most, let us consider the feelings of our brothers and sisters as we traverse this difficult time. The selfies can wait.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. We're continuing our discussion with Peter Clark, Managing Director of the Water Resources Authority, WRA. Sir Clark, one of the things that we had established in the first half of our interview was that there's not much to do right now but to watch it. Is that accurate?
That is pretty accurate. And that is exactly how it is playing out right now.
Yeah.
In that, yes, there's not much to do. For the groundwater, we just have to wait until it soaks away.
Right.
And I say it may be sometime before it soaks away. In 2002, Content had similar flooding. Similar in the sense that there was flooding. Dissimilar, not similar in terms of the rate. The rate of flooding then was not as fast as now, and the height it eventually came to was not as high as now. All right, and at that time, in June 2002, we had the rains early in June, and by the end of June, which was about 3 weeks later, it had basically soaked away. But the thing within June now, at that time in 2002, was that in soaking away, it also pushed in the groundwater down into the porous area. And then we had water now springing out of the banks in porous, reminding us of why the old people call the town porous.
Yes, porous.
And so it started pushing out of the banks inside of the porous area. And then there were little waterfalls, and there were little streams and rivers running down the side of the road. And on a Saturday, people would come there with chicken sandwiches and picnic and all of that.
Yes.
You're too young to remember this, but I'm telling you that as a fact, that this happened, that people were there.
Okay.
All right? every Saturday and Sunday. It was a big attraction for maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
So we'll be seeing this water in one area or the other for some time.
It could very well, yes. It could very well as a breakout again. Further down as the groundwater advances, down gradient, it could then break out further, in the porous area. Even Harmons, for instance, sometimes flooding in Harmons is as a result of what's groundwater that's coming right through into that area.
But I need to ask you about the WRA and its work with other agencies. So we can't stop or prevent it, but we can assess and manage it. So how is the WRA working with like the NWA, NWC, ODPEM?
Well, we've had discussions with the NWA, of course, because when it comes to the matter of containing floods and building structures, bridges and gullyways and culverts and all of this, the NWA is absolutely critical in that. They have that responsibility, as a matter of fact. Right. So yes, they are out there as well. We've been having discussion with them. But even in discussing with them, we are seeing where, as things stand right now, there's not much that we're able to do. I mean, one of the things that we've talked about from the scientific point of view is, for instance, if you could pump a lot of wells down gradient to see if you could pull some groundwater. But then a lot of these wells now are not in a position to be energized. The power is down. So there are all kinds of issues.
Wait. So we can't do the pumping because we don't have access to power in those areas. That's what you're saying.
There's that problem.
Okay.
Well. And of course, a lot of these wells are not being used. So you don't even have pumps on them. A few of the pumps, you don't have pumps on them presently.
So even this plan would be a lot of infrastructure.
A lot of work to even bring that into play. A lot of work to bring that into play. And then how much would you move? That's the question. How much would you move? That is,
So it's a waiting game.
It is a waiting game at this stage. Unfortunately, no, this is not a happy bit of news for the people that live there.
Of course not.
Of course, who are severely impacted. It's not a happy. They can't be happy campers with what has happened, and they can't be happy campers with what they are hearing. Right. Because they're not hearing much. There's not much that's coming at them to say this is a solution, because frankly, it would take. I would think it would take massive engineering to really present a solution. Massive engineering, and at the same time, that takes time in and of itself. Right. And everybody's problems now is immediate.
And looking at the problem being immediate, some people might think that, okay, this is just here, but we do expect it to recede. We do expect it to sort itself out.
We do expect it to recede. In other communities, it has not receded much. For instance, in the Monique area, we do know of the almost permanent Monique Lake. And there are houses that have been underwater in Monique since 2012. And totally abandoned. And there are houses that have been built since on the edge of the lake because somebody says, I'll take my chance. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it is our anticipation that it will recede. And, there'll be some normalization. But normalization is only until something similar conditions, similar conditions come together again. And it may well happen. No, the last time was 2002. That's 23 years ago. Now, I'm not going to say it happens every 23 years. It could very well happen December.
When things come together.
When everything comes together, yeah.
So until it recedes, what advice do you have for people interacting with this standing water?
Well, my first piece of advice is do not interact with this water. Do not interact with this water. The fact is that even though it might have come up as clear groundwater, because our groundwater is pretty much pristine and clear normally, it would now have interacted, it would now have mixed with, been in contact with the terrain. All right, and when I say the terrain, I mean from ground level down to maybe 20 feet, where you'd have, for instance, there may be the presence of absorption pits and pit toilets in the area. There may have been...
Wait, absorption, you mean like soak away?
Yeah, soak away, okay. Soak away pits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Only that, no, it can't soak away.
Soak away anything.
Because the water content surrounding is so great. So you between the possible presence of soak-away pits, the possible presence of, for instance, goat pens, I don't know, pig pens, I don't know, for sure your dogs and your other chickens and so on in the backyard. So everything is kind of mixed in right now. So it's not water that you want to go playing in. I would advise that. And children look with, It's the greatest. I guess it's every child's dream to wake up one morning and see a swimming pool in the backyard. But in this instance, it is not to be interacted with. Nobody should be going swimming. Nobody should be, going boating unless it's absolute. I mean, I saw that the JDF went in there and performed a rescue of a young dog, a dog, for instance.
Right.
And I understand the need for these kinds of things, but it's not for recreational boating at this stage or anything like that.
So the word circlac here.
And remember, it's deep.
Yes. So the word here at the end of the interview is this water. It is unlikely to be safe. Just do not interact with
That's
it.
right.
Thank you for joining me, Peter Clark, Managing Director of the Water Resources Authority, WRA. Until next time, I'm Theodore Henry. Thank you for joining us on Get the Facts.
You know the adage, water is life? Rightly stated, as it supports all living beings. But with the passing of a hurricane, supply may be compromised and properly stored water could just become our lifeline. Step 1. It is best to use food-grade containers to store water. This means that the material used is fit for human consumption and won't have toxic substances entering your water. Step 2. Be sure to wash and rinse the container thoroughly in preparation for water storage. Step 3. After filling the container, be sure to seal it tightly. If it has a screw-on cap, ensure it's tightly closed. This will prevent contamination. Step 4. Also, to prevent contamination, store water in a cool, dark place. This is to minimize exposure to temperature fluctuations, which can degrade the quality of the water and the container. Step 5. Replace stored water frequently to ensure freshness. You may use older water for non-drinking purposes. Step 6. Additionally, you may want to label the containers with the date of storage. This will help you keep track of how long the water has been stored. Step 7. Drinking water containing bacteria and viruses can lead to serious health issues and diseases such as diarrhea, cholera, or dysentery. If you're in doubt as to the state of your drinking water, you may want to apply water purification methods such as boiling to get rid of any bacteria. Step 8. Finally, going back to point number 1, do not store water in containers that have been used for chemicals or substances that can leach into the water and your system. Ensure that your stored water remains safe and drinkable. Protect your water, and it will protect you.
No doubt this period is a difficult time for many, and it is important to understand what is happening to us to gain the necessary help. In our next feature, we explore what it means to be mentally healthy and the signs to look out for. Take a look.
Previously on My Mind and Me.
If we're looking for some signs, I would say if you're mentally unhealthy and you've tried the relaxation techniques, you've tried the self-care, you've tried stress management and it's not working, that would be a great time to get some professional help to help you get your mental health back. Mental health is a different concept from mental illness, although we use them as an umbrella term. Being mentally healthy means that you are able to be flexible, to adjust to the challenges of life.
And it is important to do what we can to ensure our own mental health.
Small daily habits that can help to maintain or attain good mental health include being able to pause when you need to. We find ourselves going consistently throughout the day, and if we don't pause, that's a challenge. So it's important to know when to pause.
Pause right there. Find ways to help you figure out the challenge you're having. You can
use STOP as an acronym. STOP, it means stop whatever you're doing Take stock of what's happening to you. Take deep breaths. When you observe what's happening to you at O, then you proceed, but you address what you found at O. So if when you stopped, took the breaths, you observe that you're hungry, then we would say proceed and go and get something to eat. And deep breaths, for instance, help you in the pause. Not the ones where your chest goes up and you actually didn't take a breath.
And something else we can do,
I like to call it the 3-3-5. So you inhale through your nose and count to 3, hold it and count to 3, and then you exhale through your mouth and you count to 5. 3 sets of that, and usually it gives you a moment to just decompress and to think about the what next. Other small things could be those things that relax you. Is it having a devotion? Is it being able to have sometimes your one little favorite meal for lunch today? Is it being able to check on somebody? Is it, for instance, going home early today? Is it about watching your show? Is it having an hour of me time and doing absolutely nothing? Those are some things that could help every day.
take little breaks.
If you feel stressed, what you need to do is turn your phone off, get away from social media, things like that that help you to manage your stress. Do you find yourself having, let's say, your heart racing? Then it means you probably need to do some deep breathing. Do you find yourself feeling very anxious? Sometimes, especially our students, when you have to go out for school. What are the things you can do in the moment that settles you and helps you to respond better? Because we can't get rid of the stress. So it's going to be about the management. So figure out how you respond and figure out a better way to respond until you are able to resolve the stressor or the anxiety.
And try self-care.
Mentally, there's absolutely no way to overemphasize that. Self-care, self-care, self-care. And don't let anybody fool you, it's not selfish. Do small things for yourself every day. Katie Reed says self-care is giving the world the best of you instead of what's left of you. So look at it from that perspective. You want to fill yourself up so that you're able to put back into what you need to put into. Nowadays, we're panicky for our cell phones are going to die and we have to get it charged. Consider yourself a personal cell phone for your self-care and make sure you're always fully charged. Self-care can include going to the barber, going to the hairdresser, maybe getting your nails done. But a lot of people do those things because it has to be done. Don't make those things your only self-care things that you do. It needs just a little bit more than that. I would say to anybody who finds themselves being mentally unhealthy or perhaps experiencing what may look like a mental illness or someone they know, to get help. Nothing is wrong with trying on your own. So there is nothing that prevents you from recognizing what coping mechanisms you can use. Coping mechanisms are not one size fits all. So maybe what works for somebody won't work for you, and nothing prevents you from trying. So think about the things that you'd like to get done. Get a massage, go to the beach, have a nature walk, talk to somebody, journal, pray, have devotions. If those things aren't working, then I would encourage somebody to get professional help. They are trained, it's their job. They will figure out how to help you figure out what's the best way to move forward. There are mental health clinics in all our parishes. We have a suicide line and a mental health line at the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and they also have an email address. We have Family Life Ministries that offers counseling. We have Rise Life, and they offer specific help for suicide and substance abuse. We have the women's centers who have opened places for women who are being abused. And we have UNICEF has a WhatsApp number that helps adolescents up to young adults. And the last thing that we've had, somebody in Jamaica has created an app called Let's Talk About It.
We've come to the end of today's show. I do hope that you've enjoyed this package. To catch a repeat of this or any other, feel free to log on to our website at jis.gov.jm. Until next time, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.